Hello and welcome. You are here for episode 118 of the Nearly Main Video Games Podcast, coming to you live on Twitch from Scotland on Thursday, 3rd of November 2022. I am Blunderboy87, and joining me tonight is Colin NM.
I've forgotten how to do this.
And Paul Kaczynski.
So have I.
Together we are the Nearly Men, and this episode of the podcast is brought to you by executive producer Hamster Boy. We have nothing to do with the video games industry. We don't make them, we don't sell them, and we're not even particularly good at them. We are the Nearly Men, and at some point you have probably kicked our asses online.
Don't you give me that face.
What face? Me?
So I looked down at the screen and I saw my own face and it's still in the credits on the wee bit, and I went, nope, Paul's put the wrong scene up. I'm just standing there gormlessly looking at the camera.
Nothing new there.
My
And I was
brain
like, why?
completely broke as well. I was like, I mean, there's a simple button I can press to change it, but no, I was onto my keyboard and everything. I was like,
So
what
what
did I
happened?
do? What did I do?
I missed it. Did you go to the wrong person?
Went straight to me for you.
I love that. I love
It's the
that.
Return of the King.
Yeah, it's just a sneak preview.
I'm back, baby.
The Colin
Who's
just
this
being
guy?
like, I know the part-timer returns.
Who's
Hi,
this?
No.
who are you? Who are you?
Who are you who are so wise in the ways of science?
I'm just here on work experience.
Good.
And don't get used to him.
Aye.
No, it's a fleeting
Sacked.
visit, unfortunately, because I'm hella busy. but I had to come back.
You did?
I had to come back. I'm
Christmas has come early.
Yep. Like very early because this is your Christmas because I'm then have to disappear to actually go and
Oh.
work at Christmas.
Just like my childhood. Dad, is that you?
Oh God.
Oh, this is bitingly close to the truth.
How are you?
this
Nearly
is
Dad
awkward.
2. Nearly Dad 2. That's what you can call Paul's Nearly Dad 1. You're Nearly Dad 2.
Nearly dad too. I'm
Excellent.
good. I'm good. Yes, I am back. My daughter Sophie was born
Yay!
about 6 weeks ago. And
my God.
yeah, it's been a wee bit up and
been
down.
that
Like, you know,
fast?
we had a wee minor scare, but she's doing absolutely brilliant. She's happy and she's healthy, and yeah, she's just brilliant.
Is she happy though, Colin?
Fantastic.
Is she happy?
She is. She got
She
to
looks
meet her
up to your
nearly
face.
uncles digitally.
Yeah.
She met
You
her
did.
nearly uncles very briefly.
And she kind of went, and it was
Aye.
like, yes.
Slivered straight into my expensive microphone.
Excellent.
But yeah, no, she's doing great, and her mum, Sherry Bobbins, was an absolute star. Still is a star. Remains a star.
That was quick enough, I think.
Yeah,
got rid of that.
Quick
enough. But
And you as well. Don't forget the Da. The Da's
Aye.
a star as well.
yeah, you know,
You know,
you
a
know.
bunch of legends is what you are. A triplet of legends.
So it's all good.
Sounds nice
It's
like
all
that.
good. We're doing well. And a wee bit tired today, but actually, you know, everyone's like, "Oh, good luck. Yeah, say goodbye to sleep." It's not actually been that bad. There have been a few nights where it's like sleep has been there's not been a lot of sleep, and obviously, with the few wee health scares we had early doors, there wasn't a lot of sleep had then. But relatively speaking, we're doing okay. Although I do feel like a bit of a burst balloon today. But you know,
Surely the nights you no sleep just sit and play video games.
nah, you're like feeding and changing nappies.
Oh.
There's
They're not
such a
self-sufficient?
precious- There
Oh
is
my God.
precious few.
You're really not selling this.
Honestly, I have to be honest. I don't even know why I'm on this podcast today. I have basically played Hee Haw.
Think I should start an opinion. It's
Oh
Colin.
well, you bet. I mean,
Aye.
I don't need to have any experience of anything to have an opinion on it. Just wait, I'm going to set the world to rights tonight. Yeah, but it's good to be
Oh
back.
joy. It's good to have you
Good
back.
to have you here, sir.
And if everyone else is happy to have Colin back, you can let us know by contacting us here.
Reaching the Nearly Men is easier than ever. Search for the Nearly Men Video Games podcast on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or your preferred podcast player. We stream on Twitch. Follow Colin at Colin_NM. Follow Paul at Paul Kaczynski, all one word. Follow Blunderboy at Blunderboy87. And let's get social on Facebook as The Nearly Men, Twitter and Instagram where we are at Nearly Men, or go old school and email us on info@thenearlymen.com. Need all that again? Links are on our website, thenearlymen.com. So what are you waiting for?
So yes, please do get in touch. Let us know if you're glad Colin's back, if you're glad Colin's leaving us again.
See before you move
let
on.
us know what you're doing. Yo, what?
See before you move on, because I get slightly distracted by the visual mess that I was leaving behind me in the opening. But did you get the opening right?
Uh-huh.
The script? Did you get the script right? Correct?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Look at that.
That
Just brushes it off. I
that
got it
is
right.
one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Aye, something's not right.
There was technical issues, so I had to make sure the intro went right.
Also, that just
pressure
has to
was
give you
there.
problems to make you do your job. Is that what you're
Yeah, that's when I thrive. Although I still stumble over 2022. When I see it written down, I start to go 2020. I can't figure out how many times I've seen 20.
Blunder, we are now
It's
into the
weird.
11th month.
I know.
Stop trying now, mate.
22.
I know.
I can't help but feel if you're not got it right by now, you're not gonna get it.
Too many twos. Like I say it, but then my mind goes, "Did you say that right?" And I'm like, "Oh."
And also because Blunder has an IRL job where I assume you probably write the date on a daily basis.
Wait in your margin.
What? No,
you know-
I never write the date.
Oh, you just get everybody else to do that.
Oh yeah, well, I do think even they put we don't use drawers. We're not old like you
See.
two.
Aye, but
It's
like
not like-
Reggie's and that, have to do all that.
It's all digital. Like it's you push a button and it comes up the class you've got, and you don't have.
What
I
does he
write
get
my
paid
date in
for?
my planner.
What does he get paid for?
But
Does he
even
get
I
paid job?
So old.
I don't even put the date, the year in my planner. I just put like the day in the month because
Paul-
it's just for that
Paul
year.
had to
So
scratch it into a piece of slate. The bit of slate on with the string on the little board. Paul actually went to Scotland Street School. That's what he
Aye,
went.
aye. I went to Scotland Street School as with the school for a tour. And
Aye,
I
you make you
was
dress up.
I was
Did you
just-
think it was better than your school?
more up to date. But I was at that age where it was just close enough that I thought it was real, and I was terrified, absolutely terrified of the teacher.
Did they make someone in the class wear the dunce hat and sit in the corner?
I did all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Aye.
Yeah, and then you had to put on the pinafores and the schools things.
And I've got a real kind of like I look up to what's the word authority.
Authority.
I've got real authority issues, so I did just everything he asked.
Class like TP, man. TP.
That's horrendous. Be under no illusion that if you were in the army, Paul would have shot you for insubordination.
Oh, without a doubt, by the way.
For anyone that doesn't know, that was very colloquial. I realise Scotland Street School is a museum in the south side of Glasgow, which is a former school. The school was designed by a very famous architect, Charles Rennie Mackintosh. It's a very interesting looking building. And the museum is about school life, I guess, in the
Aye.
kind of 1800s,
Victorian,
end of the 1800s,
yeah,
start of
yeah.
1900s, maybe. So yeah, it's all very. Please, sir, can I have some more?
Yeah,
sort of
I went to
stuff.
see Paul Kaczynski in a play there where he played the Janny and
So I
the
did.
teacher.
Aye, that's right.
Yeah.
See, so
Yeah.
my experience of seeing the teacher lived on through my performance.
History repeated itself.
Yeah.
Our Nearly Men merch is still available. For those watching, you can see Colin modelling a beautiful t-shirt in fetching red. You can get that at printbunker.co.uk/collections/the Nearly Men. So with Christmas coming up, might want to get some stocking fillers. With it being very cold just down in Scotland, you might want a hoodie to keep yourself warm.
I need a new hoodie. I gave mine to just off the 6.
So you did.
Oh, a true
We had
gentleman.
we had a bit of a stock issue, and obviously when you've got a friend over from LA who asks for some merch, you're like, yeah, I'll find you some. I gave him mine.
Wow.
With that authentic Colin NM smell.
Aye.
Did
Unwashed.
Did you charge for that bit?
Yeah, I don't think I did.
That's
wash
a
it.
business
I
right there.
I lint rollered as much of the cat hair off it as I could. Don't know if I washed. I must have washed it. Nah, I think I did wash it.
I'm like, Colin smells like Lenore.
I smell like, what is it? Unstoppables. Who is it that makes them? I don't know.
Huh?
I think it might be Lenore. It's the wee bead things that you put in your washing.
Oh,
Sort
all
of
right,
scent
Mrs.
booster
Hinch.
things.
Settled in.
Mrs. Hinch does a version of them, but
I don't
these
know why you know
these were
that.
not the Hinch variety. Couldn't you forget Sherry Bobbins had like a sort of
Oh, that's
lifestyle
right.
Instagram for a while. She became
Uh,
obsessed with the whole
Yeah.
Hinch stuff.
She was like a little Miss Hinchette.
Yep. So she knew all about that, and now so do I.
Paul looks so confused about
What,
it. He's just
what
like,
happens?
these
She
words
might
don't make
disappears
sense.
for a couple of weeks, and what have you turned into? What's
I've been
going on?
traveling the world, mate. I'm a scholar of the world.
When Colin goes down the laundry aisle now, he picks them all. Oh no, I don't want that one. Oh, sniffing them all, like, oh yes, some Black Rose. I'll go for that this week.
Right, there's not there's not an awful lot of video game news this week, and actually we've got precious few things to talk about. But I have to tell you this, right? While we're all taking the
Speaks
mickey
for yourself. I got loads of games.
out of me, right? While we're taking the mickey out of me,
Oh.
we know that I like a scented candle, right?
Yes,
is,
it does.
This is
It
nearly men
does.
canon. This
Yep.
is nearly men canon. So we decided, not long after we were back from the hospital with the baby, I went out to B&M stores. What a place! An Aladdin's cave of place. That's the cat just jumped in the Moses basket, knocks it over,
So nice to have
Excellent.
Colin back,
Excellent.
isn't it?
and the Moses basket tipped over. Thank God the baby wasn't in there. What did you learn, Kobe? What did you learn? Anyway, so anyway, we went to B&M, right? Well, I went to B&M and bought a nice candle. I thought I'll buy us a nice wee candle. I bought a Yankee candle. I decided to push the boat out a wee bit, you know. Got a nice Yankee candle, a kind of autumnal one, which was toasted marshmallow. That was it. It smelled lovely in the shop. I was quite pleased. It was one of the big candles. I came all the way home. I was carrying too many bags and in the house, dropped the bag, smashed the candle.
Oh no! Oh.
I then sat picking glass out of the candle so I could still use it.
Oh man!
I did still use it, but it became like it. Actually, life became art, or art became life. It melted into a giant like melted marshmallow, and then went everywhere.
Oh. That's a sad tale. Sad
I
tale
know,
for
It's a-
Thursday.
it's a sad
Yeah,
tale.
it's a sad tale. Do you know it's a happy tale?
What's a
Do
happy
I?
tale?
What?
Go to where Ragnarok's out soon.
Yeah.
Jump, jump,
Boys.
Boy.
So how are we feeling? We excited? We like look forward to it? We feeling a bit mediocre? What we thinking?
I've got to be honest. I am super hyped about this. This game looks amazing. Obviously, we won't delve into spoilers, but the reviews have come out, and I think it's currently sitting at a Metacritic of 95.
Oh.
An absolute slew of 10 out of 10s and 9 out of 10s. A number of reviews, kind of trusted reviews, that I'm basically saying it's absolutely bloody brilliant, and basically it improves upon God of War 2018, which was my, I'm sure it was my game of the year, 2018, and genuinely was in my games of the decade, and is probably in somewhere in my top, I guess 20, top 15, top 10, somewhere in that of all time. It's a brilliant game, and the idea or the potential that this improves upon it is so exciting. I think it looks great, and I can't believe it's finally here.
The word masterpiece has been battered about, I noticed quite a bit.
Exciting.
I can't say I'm surprised, because you know there are certain studios, and this is the thing that always is I get my Sony fanboy hat on. This is this sort of one thing, because there's no denying that Sony in recent years got a fair bit of a bloody nose again from Xbox, particularly with Game Pass. I see that the PS Plus subscribers have dropped by about 2 million. And obviously, with the sort of slew of re-releases and remasters that Sony are doing at the moment, it's plain to see that Sony aren't necessarily getting everything right. We're going to talk about something else that they're probably not getting right soon as well. But there's a few things that Sony sort of can hang their hats on, and generally it's their studios, particularly their main PlayStation studios, and the absolute jewel. Well, they've got a couple of jewels in the crown. Obviously, they've got Naughty Dog and the lot they do for Horizon. Who is it that? Sucker
Guerrilla.
Punch as well. Gorilla and Sucker Punch. But right at the top of the tree is Sony Santa Monica, and yeah, it just looks like they've absolutely knocked out the park. And this is one of those games that's been hyped, like super hyped, and really you kind of felt that if you were looking at margins, the margins that they needed or they had to improve on God of War were quite small. The margins they had to make a mess of it were massive, and so far, at least with the reviews the way they are, it looks as though they've bucked the trend and really smashed it.
So you're saying I've not really. I don't. I'm like I don't like to watch a lot of things, so I've stayed out clear for any topics on Twitter. And on that, you need to be careful. There's people going around just posting story spoilers and anything with a name with like God of War and the tweet. So if you really don't want spoiled, I'd say mute that for the next week or so until you finish it, because you're just thinking people out there really spoiling a lot of people's fun.
You're going to have to mute a whole bunch of words, I would say, on Twitter or social media. Obviously, God of War. Obviously, Kratos, Atreus. Probably going to have to mute things like Thor, Freya.
Yeah.
Or
just leave Twitter.
Or just leave Twitter. I mean, let's be honest. If you're going to leave Twitter, this is probably the time to do it, because it's even more of a bin fire than usual. And soon it's going to be a bin fire you're going to have to pay for.
Every day I wake up, I have been added by a bunch of busty bots, and I'm like, get off me Twitter. Like, it's never been an issue until the past week and a half, 2 weeks. It's really annoying.
44 billion to essentially become the worst online Facebook die you've ever seen in your life. It's embarrassing.
It's also impressive how quickly they're like bombing it. It's like speedrunning records.
But let's not forget, right? What it means is, anyone out there listening, if you guys are stupid, don't worry, you can still be a billionaire. There's clearly, this is not a thing by the looks of things. You don't have to be intelligent to be a billionaire. By the sound of things, you barely have to be a functioning adult, and somehow you can become a billionaire. So, something to look forward to.
I did like the fact that apparently the man who created Twitter released a new plan for a new social media platform.
Already?
On the day he bought it.
Oh, really?
Love that.
Is it called
Twitter? There's one called like Space, and it's like the old MySpace, and you can like custom program your backgrounds and put music videos and stuff in. And I'm like, kind of want to join that just for the nostalgia.
You'd be in my top 5 blender.
Charmed. I love it.
You might make the cut.
I love it.
But we're all looking forward
to all look forward to God of War then.
Yes.
When is it out? The 9th?
The 9th.
It's out the 9th.
Which is a Wednesday?
I think it's out this Wednesday coming, yeah.
Yeah, because I got mine pre-ordered. Woo!
Honestly, I'm so excited. So I was reading a couple of reviews about it. Apparently the sort of scope of it, the scale of it's a lot bigger. I think it is still, by the looks of things, going to be using the same sort of one-shot style camera, but I think the camera does a bit more. It's a bit less over the shoulder all the time. I think it does. It's a bit more interesting at points. Apparently, the gods are much more sort of front and center. Apparently, there's potentially much more. God of War was always known for this massive spectacle, and actually one of the things that sort of set God of War 2018 aside was that the it was a bit more reined in. It was a bit more sort of stripped back and sort of intimate almost. I think it's still very much got that, but I think it's also got these big moments of sort of spectacle, which I'm really excited about. And yeah, it's just apparently brilliant. Apparently the combat's very good as well. And also, I don't know. So I shared a thing with the Nearly Men earlier on. Actually, there's a whole bunch of different options. So we know for a fact that there's a huge thing of accessibility settings, much like the PlayStation game Studios games have been doing. I discussed it at length on The Last of Us Part 1, and the amount of accessibility options that it had around about 60. I believe God of War Ragnarok also has 60, so I'm assuming it's almost, blow for blow the same sort of thing. So it's going to have this huge options because again, this is quite a difficult game. So you're going to be able to fine tune that, but you're also going to be able to fine tune your game technically. There seems to be about 6 different options, and it's not simply just favor performance or favor kind of fidelity. There's variable frame rate, there's high frame rate, there's obviously HDR, there's loads and loads of stuff, and you can kind of go for the variable frame rate, but also the fidelity or the performance, and with various different screen FPS targets and things like that as well. It's really interesting to see them really giving you a chance to play the game in as many ways as you want and find a particular way. I sort of jokingly said earlier on it was Ragnarok, have it your way, and it does feel a wee bit like that, and I think that's great. I think giving the consumer as many options as possible is all for the best.
Awesome. Excellent. Staying in Sony land, Sony have announced their PSVR 2. It's launching February 23rd. No, February 23, as in 2023. Damn. And more 20s. 2023 won't be as bad because there's a 3 in it. It's the 2022.
Blunder's Nemesis, the number 20.
Damn 20s. My one weakness. And the price range is just ridiculous. Like I love a good bit of tech, and I will sweet talk my husband to buy me stuff. But I don't know if I could even justify this.
So could you sweet talk your husband into buying me a bottle one as well.
So the PSVR 2 is going to retail at £530, $550, or €600.
£130.
With an additional 50 for the Horizon game included. So you're looking at 580 quid for a headset and a game. And from what they've said, the PSVR games do not run on VR2, so it's not as if you're even going to have a back catalogue to go back and play.
I think, to be fair to them, I think a few of them are being touched up, as it were.
Right, because I remember seeing that a few weeks ago, and I was like, shut up. I was like, you can't be like, remember all those VR games you bought? Can't play them. It's so silly. Like, it just feels wild. So in the kit, you're getting your PSVR 2 headset, the controllers, and stereo headphones. And games include, or I guess these are games that are going to be released, Supermassive's Dark Pictures Roller Coaster. Is that called Switchback?
It is called Switchback.
Okay. City Skylines in
Yes.
VR.
City Skylines, yes.
To me back there. And pre-order start on the 15th of November. And the Dark Pictures Roller Coaster Switchback will be like we were saying. It's going to be like the Carnival one from Until Dawn. Roller Coaster of Doom, whatever it's called. Which was good fun. You hated it, but I loved it.
Well, I just hated it for obvious reasons.
Yes, because you don't like horror. But it's a bit biting of a price point. Like, a PS5 itself is that much.
It's unreal, by the way. It's
Yeah,
unreal.
so if you're wanting like the VR experience, you're going to kick out $1,000. Like I get the Quest 2 for 300 quid, and that has a
You
lot
got a
of the
Quest
games.
2?
Yeah,
I kept that quiet.
no, I didn't spoke about it before. Liar. But yeah, like Quest 2, it's good for parties. Because I was trying to set up a stream for it, but then I couldn't figure out how to see chat, and then I gave up. But maybe I'll come back to it. Because I want to do The Walking Dead again, because that was hilarious.
Oh, that was funny. That was when
it
you
was so-
essentially threw a gun at someone,
I-
an unloaded gun, because you couldn't
Yeah.
load.
and I tried to put the spoon in the gun because I dropped the bullets, and then just grabbed the zombie, start slapping it. I was like, ah!
Yes.
I mean, I was going
That's
through the
right.
Nearly Men channel. I found a clip where the zombies burst through the doors. I absolutely cack myself, and I'm like screaming, trying to swing an axe at them, but my wrists have gone wonky, and I'm like, ah! So funny. So yeah, what do you make of it all, Paul Kaczynski?
Well, do you know, I'm not surprised, to be honest. I'm not desperately surprised. I'm a wee bit disappointed.
There's your dad disappointed.
It's hard going, man. That's dearer than it's dearer than the console itself. Now I know it is a
Is it?
fancy bit of tech, but I mean, it was the article I was reading. It was, it did the obvious thing that you do. That if you wanted to play PSVR 2 and you need a PS5, you're going to pay over $1,000 for it.
Aye.
Now I know that your Vive is near enough $1,000. I think it's like £700-800, whatever.
Right.
But as you said, your Oculus is £300, and the Oculus is actually a half decent bit of kit as well.
Aye. It's really
And
fun.
I know you're getting the controllers. Now the controllers are a big deal. They're a big deal because they're haptic, and they're more akin to your Oculus ones.
Yeah, they look like the Quest
Yeah.
ones. I didn't realize they were haptic. That's interesting.
You've got your fingers. It can
Is
register.
that a cable?
Yeah, no, it's not wireless.
Shut up!
It's not wireless. No, the headset is not wireless.
Get in the bin.
I,
I pay like you want to be fined for 30 quid to be tethered to my console.
I'm kind of half forgiving them for the tether, because with some Oculus games, if you want to play them properly, you need to be tethered.
Yeah.
But they've also got about 2-3 years on top of the Quest,
Yeah,
so I'm a bit like you might be kind of lagging behind here a wee bit.
Aye.
So I don't think I can afford to get that. I don't think I can afford to get
No.
that, and that's sad. That's sad because I love VR, and I'm always been a big flag waver of VR, and the fact that, gosh, 2 months after Christmas they're asking people to fork out $5,000 for something is hard going, I think.
Aye.
I think the thing as well is, there's no denying this is clearly a relatively impressive bit of kit, right? There's no denying that this is expensive, but the problem is that if they want VR to be sort of ubiquitous and be everywhere, they have to find a way to make it more affordable, because
Yeah.
nobody can afford that.
Yeah.
Aye.
They just can't. And on top of that as well, PlayStation 5 is still super hard to get. So people are paying, 300, well, what is it, 350 for the digital, or 500 odd, but they're ending up paying more than that, because folk are still having to buy from scalpers to get a PS5. And on top of that, you're talking £1,000 to then, and then an extra 50 if you want the Horizon game, or else you've got no bloody games to play on it.
Aye.
I don't deny, see if one magically arrived in our house, say Sony sent us one, I'd be delighted, right? I bet it'd be the greatest bit of kit ever. I do not doubt that it will be brilliant. It's going to sink like a stone if they can't find a way to get it to people. And I don't think, as Paul said, the cost of living at the moment, who on earth has got that sort of money to get that up front, especially to then have to buy games are £70 at the moment.
Aye.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah. And the horrible thing is, VR is going to survive on the fact that people are using it. If people don't use it, they're going to bin it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still looking for that hook in game that makes everybody want to get a PSVR or a VR in general. They're still looking for that one game that makes everybody go, "Oh, I need to get that." And until
And I'm
they
not
get
sure the Horizon game is that.
Oh, it's certainly not. Certainly
No.
not. And but they're not going to price people out of it. People aren't going to buy it for that price. They won't be able to buy it at that price. Therefore, they won't be selling games. Therefore, they'll think it's not supported. Therefore, they'll kill it. And that
Aye.
they're
If
shooting
Sony
themselves in the
really
foot.
wanted this to happen, they'd have to eat. They'd have to eat it big time. They'd
Aye.
have to sell it for like 150 quid and make a massive loss to get. Because I guarantee if it was 150 quid, everybody would. But well, not everyone, but they'd get huge sales. But whether they could make the sums work, I doubt it.
Aye.
Hugely doubt it.
They'd need that. They'd need that game that would sell
Yeah.
to go along with it. That's what worked about the Xbox S.
Mhm.
Was that it was cheap enough that people picked it up, and then got Game Pass. Excuse me, and that filled that hole. If you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, if they could find a way to, and again, I know they can't do this, but as you know, they had that Game Pass. If they could find some way where, like, literally your PlayStation VR works with every game, not just your VR games. Obviously, it works with all your old VR games, but it works with every game in some way. They would need something like that, and then, as you said, they would need a killer app. They would need something.
They need something
And
to hook it in.
And it would have to
Aye.
be something big. It would have to be like if they announced there was some deal they had with GTA 6, for instance, and you can play it fully in VR or something like that.
Aye.
Or
aye.
the next Modern Warfare, you can play it in VR. It needs to be a big game that's going to sell a hell of a lot of copies. And it basically they need to go, and the best way to play it is with
Yeah.
PlayStation
Yeah.
VR.
And it can't be one of these wee spin-off games like the Horizon game is clearly going to
No.
be. It's going to be
Yeah.
in the flavour of Horizon, but it's not going to be anywhere near as enjoyable as Horizon. Do you know what I mean?
It'll be great though. There's no denying, because again, this is the thing. Sony do make very good things. I don't doubt that it won't be good. How good is Batman Arkham VR, for instance? But
Oh,
it's
brilliant,
a very distilled, small experience.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that it's not brilliant, but generally once you've done it, you're a bit like, oh. And generally what has happened with all the VR games is, in my experience, is, oh my God, this is amazing. I need to get my family around and they all need to experience this. And they'll experience it, and then you're like, right, okay. And that's about it, Obviously, there's things like Squadrons and a few other games that have it. Firewall. Bloody loved
That
That was
Firewall.
great, yeah.
But again, not massive appeal. You remember how much difficulty we had getting
Getting players.
people on lobbies and
Yeah.
Firewall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were on a European server one night. I think there was literally, we played everybody the same. We played them all
That's
night.
right,
And
huh?
genuinely, I think we were. I think there was about 12 of us playing the game.
Well,
in the
hi
entire-
again.
entire- the entire continent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Keep your eyes peeled and keep you up to date with the PSVR 2 situation.
It's a
Situation.
Now it
shame. I just thought he was going to do very well, unfortunately.
hopefully does. And then we hopefully just give everyone VR headsets. That'd be fine. Time for Colin's favourite bit of the night. It's time for Colin's Subbies. Subbies.
When did it become my subbies? When did it become my
Subbies.
subbies?
We were going to rename it Freebies if you don't come back.
So, we're looking at our Game Pass editions first. 3rd of November, you can get Ghost Song on console, PC, and cloud. 8th November, Football Manager 2023 console, Football Manager 2023 PC, and Return to Monkey Island on console, PC, and cloud.
Ooh.
10th of November, you can get Vampire Survivors on console. 15th of November, Pentiment on console, PC, cloud, and Somerville on console and PC. And the 22nd of November, Gungrave Gore, console, PC, cloud, and Warhammer 40k Darktide on the PC. Your games with gold from November 1st to the 30th, Praetorians HD Remaster. Until the November 15th, you can get Bomber Crew Deluxe Edition. And from November 16th, to December 15th, Dead End Job. Don't want another one. Our PlayStation Plus Essentials, we have for the month of November, Neo 2 on the PS4 and 5, Heavenly Bodies PS4 and 5, and the Lego Harry Potter Collection PS4. And that's it.
That's
That's it. So Subbies. Subbies.
I'm very pleased about Neo 2. I mean, inevitably I'll never play, but it is brilliant. I'm now at that stage where I'm like, oh, and I downloaded it. I jumped. One of the few things I have done is I've made sure to get my free games. I've basically barely played anything, but made sure to get my free games. I didn't even know it was Neo 2 till I jumped on. I went, oh, and Neo. I think we've discussed this before. My heartbreak, because Neo, the original Neo, was one of the. It was November, December time a number of years ago. It was a PS Plus game. And I was in pantomime, and I obviously forgot to add it because it was Neo and Outlast 2, and I planned to do Outlast 2 on a stream, and I didn't have it. And I went, how have I not got it? And I went, it was definitely there. It was definitely a PS Plus game. And I went, and Neo, I've definitely got Neo. No, never got either of them. And now I'm like. And Neo's basically like a sort of similar to Sekiro. It's a sort of Dark Souls-y sort of samurai game. Super hard. Apparently, it's absolutely brilliant. And then apparently Neo 2 is even greater, even greater, even more good. It's also good. And
much better.
I do English.
But now I'm like, I don't know. Do I need to have played Neo 1 to do Neo 2? Because
no,
I don't even have time to play Neo 2. How am I going to play Neo 1?
It's a totally separate character and separate story, so you can just jump straight in.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Heavenly Bodies looks quite good. And yeah, that Lego game. I'm not that into Lego games are the best thing. Definitely not interested in that Lego game.
Yeah. I like when it first came out back in the days of yore on the Xbox 360, great fun, but there's better Lego games, and yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
What we've been playing last week, Paul and I had our Halloween Nearly Men event.
Oh, you were very brave.
Thank you. It wasn't.
Spectacular makeup from the Perrys, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
I have
it was
to
fun.
give shout out to the wee Maverick who did mine. I did zero effort.
Oh, I knew that, mate. I could tell.
My decaying panda.
As I said, you oddly suited it. Like, I was like, it's kind of rocking the white face, black eye, goth look.
Yeah.
And now you've got your title for your autobiography.
Yeah, there you go.
And I was feeling unsure vibes of how I felt about Blunder dressed as Daphne. I was questioning things.
Those are the same unsure vibes you always have about Blunder.
Yeah.
They were just brought slightly more to the forefront. That was it.
Whenever I put those wigs on, you'll get funny.
Aye.
And then it's funny because obviously I shaved for it, and then work this week, everyone's like, where's your beard? I was like, I did dress up for Halloween. They're like, what did you dress up as? I was like, something with makeup. Like, definitely not very lovely looking Daphne. The hit game of the night was Jackbox. Folk were loving the Jackbox.
That was good fun, yeah.
It was very fun. Nat Pacino coming in the one game and absolutely obliterating us all.
Aye, cheat.
As you said she would. We had our costume contest, which Nat Pacino won again.
Obliterated you all.
Yeah.
Aye.
We should just rename Halloween to Nat Pacino Night.
Aye.
Natoween?
Pacino-ween?
Tatooine, that's quick.
Tatooine. That sounds like something for Star Wars.
It does.
It sounds very close to Tatooine.
Yeah.
That I think if anything that improves things.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. What else did we play? We did some 1v1 in Dead by Daylight, which was funny. Paul made me.
I'm sorry.
Paul made me mute my headphones to try and find them in silence, and I still killed them. That's good.
I did still kill. I nearly got away. I was about 10 seconds away.
Very close. It was very stressful. I was like, I need to find them. We did chase you Sadako just to give you some nightmares.
Terrifying.
Did we play something else? We didn't. We just played lots of Jackbox, did the costume, and then some Dead by Daylight. It was a very fun, chill, low-key night.
It was great, yeah. It was a nice hangout. It was a nice wee hangout with the community.
It was lovely. Maybe do another one around about Christmas time when people have got a moment.
Lovely.
Christmas special. Unfortunately, we can't do our New Year's Eve party because Twitch Things is gone.
Oh, don't stop reminding me.
I know. I just need to bring it up because I'm always raging.
This is this point where we go. Surely they'll have
I know.
something in the works.
Well, they must have something in the works.
No,
keep
they
looking-
don't, Paolo. They don't.
Won't.
I tell you what, they've got in the works. Another way to put ads into your stream.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
That's what they've got. They've now got a way where you can actually make your own face an ad. Your face is an
I
ad
love that.
while you play an ad, and then your game becomes a tiny little block at the top, which is also an ad. That's what's in the works. You heard
Yeah.
it here
Go
first.
Give them ideas.
Or
Give
your
them, like,
chat also
great
becomes an
idea.
ad at that point as well.
Everyone becomes an ad. Ads.
Yep.
Under ad.
Yep.
Sense ad. On ad. I keep looking at a piano and I'm like, I'd really need to learn how to play you so we can just sit and jam and do karaoke. That.
Yes.
But
We
then
could do
I
that. We
forget.
could get the guitars out and all that, and have like a really. We could be like,
Yeah.
it could be the worst ever jam night.
Just like people
Especially-
tell us to sing songs.
Especially because there's that slight delay in
I
Discord.
know. Can you imagine
That'd
how
be
bad it would
horrendous.
be?
Like, if you want to see that, let us know. Merry
Yeah, do you
Christmas.
want- if that mixed with 4 million ads per second, it sounds like you're
Where does Twitch stand on using like backtracks? Would you just need to wipe the VOD at the end of it? Like that's something. I think that's a great idea.
Well, the backing track will have copyright to it. That's the issue. But
That's
you
true.
can play the song.
You can provide your
on
own accompaniment.
on an instrument, but then you have to wipe the VOD still.
Yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll come up with something.
Aye.
And if you've not noticed in the Discord, Halloween 2022 is now Christmas 2022.
Ching 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 ching.
Do you know,
Sleigh bells
it's
to do.
funny. It's funny because like the amount of time it takes Blunder to like put his games into the chat in the script, or the amount of times that it takes him to like I don't know turn up for the podcast, but he always changes that like on the second.
Aye.
It's like this is the hill I will die on.
That's my one Discord job to change that to the next event in the year that's coming up, and it will be there.
To me went, oh, Blunder's changed it to he's changed it to Christmas 2022, and it's like, oh my god. And it's like, well, are you sure he hasn't written Christmas 2023? He's a bit dodgy with that.
I don't like all the twos; it confuses me. But yes, it was lots of fun. So, Colin, have you played nothing?
So
Man,
what have I played? I jumped into Sea of Thieves for literally 30 seconds to get 20,000 gold I could get for signing in. I ran
Nice.
around
Very
on
nice.
the pier. I used it. I did it on my phone. Like the
Ooh.
kids do.
Modern world.
To get 20,000 gold, and then I logged out.
Commitment.
I one night thought, right, this is getting beyond the joke. I have to play a game. I jumped into Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Tried to beat my high score. I needed to get 1,000 to get the high score on 100,000 points. Sorry, to get the high score on one of the levels. Tried 3 times to do that. Couldn't get it. Rage quit. And then yesterday, I played a little bit of God of War 2018. I had a save game, played a chunk in there, fought a couple of mini bosses. God, it's just bloody brilliant, and I'm really excited for Ragnarok. So I played a bit of that. It really is just such a good game. It's part of the PS Plus collection. So if you have any of the, I think if you've got a PS5, then you've got it. It was added to the PS Plus games a while ago, so you've probably got it, and it's definitely part of the instant game collection if you're on one of the either the middle tier or the top tier of PlayStation Plus. So it is there. I mean, the majority of folk out there that have a PlayStation will have played it. If you have not, I implore you to play it. It is genuinely a brilliant game, and by the sound of things, Ragnarok's even better. And you absolutely could not go straight into Ragnarok. I don't think. I think you'd miss a lot by doing that. We were talked about Neo and whether or not I had to play the first one for that. You absolutely have to play the first one for this. If you've played the previous God of War games, you will get a lot from God of War. However, because God of War 2018 is basically a reboot, you could watch a quick YouTube video about the previous God of Wars,
Mhm.
and then play God of War 2018. It's so good. It's
And
so
even
good.
if you don't know, the game does a good job at giving you the key points.
Yeah.
Like very done very well throughout it.
I walked
Yeah.
out.
You'd never played them, had you?
I'd
Paul?
never played them. No, that was my first,
Mhm.
and it was grand.
Mm.
I don't think I got enjoyment out of a certain bit that a lot of people would have, but
Uh-huh.
I still enjoyed it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, and that is done well because it kind of it's got that sort of slight sort of nostalgia
Aye.
and a sort of fan service sort of feel to it for people that played the game, but it really does convey enough that you know as if you didn't, as
you
Quantum
get
said,
that it's important.
you get the sort of significance of it.
Mhm.
Oh god, it's such a good game. I haven't got to that bit yet. Haven't got to that bit yet, and I was having an issue in one of the battles while my sleeping daughter lay on my chest, and I was like, I was trying not to like get too exuberant with trying to beat this guy, and I was like, oh, let's see if I got to that bit before this wouldn't be a problem.
Aye.
So yeah,
Love it.
Excellent.
it's really good.
Paul, have you played anything?
Nothing of note, just usual kind of wee bits of FIFA here and there. I have played, I should have said actually that I've played PGA 23.
Ooh,
we
4.
got given a code for that, so
23 plunder 23.
it's the 20s. Can I go with the 20s? Which is good fun, which I think I will either stream or kind of do something with anyway.
Nice.
Usual nonsense with Star Citizen. Never got my Vandal mask. I was looking for the Vandal Halloween masks. Never got it.
Oh.
One thing I do have to say about Star Citizen, pardon me, is that if you watch my streams, you'll know that Johnny Caput follows me about, and he kind of knows where I'm going and appears in the scary kind of mask.
Jesus.
Aye, like a creeping Jesus, exactly.
It's very funny.
And I was playing last night. It was. And Jabrias was with me, and we got out the ship, and it was a beautiful kind of late sunset. You could see the stars, you could see the galaxy, and it was just a really nice thing. And so I thought, oh, we screenshot of that. We screenshot me looking up into the stars. Took the screenshot and carried on. Johnny turned up. I was like, oh, are you here, Johnny? Oh, surprise, blah, blah, blah. Went back. He's in the screenshot. Unbelievably, he's in the screenshot. So he's
getting photobombed in games.
He's a
I love
creep.
it.
Encourage him.
Do it.
And that's pretty much it. I've actually been quite busy that I've not managed to play much at all.
Goodness. Well,
Here it comes.
However,
I've been playing all the games, so I've been trying to get through like all the big releases lately. So I'm not going to spend too much time on them, but I'll kind of go through my experiences. So first thing I did is I played Scorn, because it was a big talking point, and it was on Game Pass, and it was an experience. Did I enjoy it? Maybe.
Oh.
Did I think it was worth the hype? No. It was visually stunning. Like it told a story with its
It
locales.
looks
Like
awesome. It
so,
looks great.
It's brutal and visceral, which if you're into that thing can be good. I was a bit like, oh, I don't know if I quite like that bit. But I understood the point it was trying to make. I think it's a wee bit pretentious. It thinks it's more than it is. It's a bit like we're making grand statements. I'm like, well, really, people have made this point over and over. And then when you realise all the visuals are based in Geiger's work and the Polish painter's work, you're kind of like, well, what did you come up with? Like, where is the originality in it? The end was guff. The combat was mediocre. So it was a fine game. I wouldn't have played it if it hadn't been in Game Pass.
Right.
And that's what I mean. I said that when I played it. I was like, would I have gone out if I'd spent my full price on this? Would I have been happy with it? No. If I bought it in sale, maybe. But the fact it was Game Pass and I've kind of like paid a tenner, if you will, for it like for that month, that was fair. So if you've got Game Pass, I'd say give it a go.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The puzzles are good. It does really well with the puzzles. When you've got to do the thinky puzzles, it's fun.
it's kind of more of a puzzle game than a shooter, really, isn't it?
And then the combat comes in, and you're a bit like, okay, it's clunky.
Yeah.
The combat's really clunky and a wee bit frustrating. Like if you'd see me doing the combat bits, there was a bit I had to redo a checkpoint like 10 times. I was like, oh, because the health system's quite low as well. But I've got mixed feelings in it. I enjoyed it, but I don't think I was wowed by it.
Hmm.
If that makes sense. And then at the end's just kind of like, all right, yeah, you made that point, and that was grim. I'm now depressed. Thanks.
Well,
But
this
yeah,
sounds great.
yeah. But if I wouldn't say if you're looking for a banterful time and like a fun time, don't play it. But if you're looking for something a wee bit morose and visually interesting, especially the last level, there's lots of aliens reproducing imagery, and it's very bizarre. We were all stunned when playing it. I was like, oh, can't look in that direction. The last bit's really cool, and then the end, I was just like, oh, okay.
I think I still harbour bad feelings towards this for when it was announced, and I got all excited thinking it was an
You thought
alien
it was
game.
an alien game.
A what? An alien game?
Like
And
a Ridley Scott alien game.
and who was it? Was it Subtle? No, someone came in and they were like, "Oh, I crowdfunded this game like 7 years ago," and I was like, "Oh, you must be disappointed." I was like, oh. If I'd waited 7 years for it, I'd have been like, "Really? That's what you're giving me?" There's some really nice things though. There's no HUD and everything. When you look at your body, you can see everything you need, and they pride themselves in there being no cinematics. It all happens as you watch the game.
That's quite cool.
It's also pretty twisted. Like I'm like, you need your head looked at.
It kind of feels like this is very much, and whether it'll ever be that, but it feels like it's very much sort of game one in a new franchise. And you know, they've made a lot of mistakes on this, the sort of stuff that you would probably fix on a second one.
Yeah. I don't know what if they would just a proper sequel to it, 'cause I think they were trying to make a point with the story.
Yeah.
But
I just saw a lot of folks saying, you know, given because yeah, what I've heard about it is very much as you say, Blunder. Apparently, the combat's not good.
And they kept saying it's not a game of combat, and it's like, well, why'd you put in a 15-minute combat?
Well, that's the thing. I think you have to. I think you have to stick to your. If it's not a combat game, don't put combat in it. You know, make it a puzzle game.
There's Chicken Little,
something else.
That Chicken Little.
Like, it just seems a bit odd.
There's a really good point of making it really claustrophobic, but then it makes you have all these enemies in corridors, and you're trying to run by them, but you don't really fit.
Yeah.
So you're a bit like, oh, I'm just getting hit lots. Like, it's a bit frustrating in that sense.
It just makes you. I saw a few folks saying that all they'd really want now is this studio to make an alien game. Because you know, because the one thing they really did get right in a lot of ways was the sort of environments looked really impressive.
Environments are stunning. The atmosphere's really good. I think they've kind of proven they can create an interesting game. I would say it's less game, more experience.
Yeah.
And the puzzles were really fun. Like when you got a puzzle, you're like, haha. And the combat was like, stop making me hit things.
What about this in VR? Would you play this in VR?
Oh, this would be terrifying in VR, but in a good way. Like it would be good. So yeah, it was. If you can play it in Game Pass, have a shot.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say spend full money on it.
No.
A game I would say spend full money on is Gotham Knights. Oh my gosh. It is so good, and not just because of Nightwing's outfits.
That is a pair of buttocks, I have to say.
Yep. It is
Nightwing content warning for those.
That's not even the buttocks costume I've got equipped. There's one, the Nightwatch costume, he is packed in there, and Harley Quinn calls him Nightbutt. What about it is? But anyway, back to the game. I would say all the people who are like, oh, it's not as good as the Arkham games. It's not trying to be an Arkham game. It's just a Bat family game. It's just fun, and that's what I kept saying that when I was playing. I was like, this game's fun to play. I've not had a game that's been fun to play in so long because I just came off the back of Scorn. Like the combat's fun. Gotham City feels alive, and it's a really interesting way it works. So the opening cutscene is amazing and also emotionally devastating. Like I was pretty much crying on stream watching the opening cutscene.
I saw.
And the Bat family have to take over from Batman because Batman's dead. That's always been what it is. But when you see it happen, it's like, oh, gut wrenching. and the writing is so good because you can tell they don't quite know how to work as a family with Batman. So you're getting all their relationships developing, and Nightwing, Dick Grayson is trying to be like, well, I'll lead, and Jason Todd, who came back as from the dead, is like, no, you won't. And then Batgirl, who's back where her legs working, is like, let's just calm it, boys. And then you've got Tim Drake, who's just like, I just want Batman back. And it's just fun. Like when you explore Gotham, little white triangles appear, and those are heat of the moment crimes. So like there's a jewelry store robbery, or there's bad guys trying to break their pals out of jail, or so you've got to go do those. So if you go do those, and that unlocks premeditated crime for the next night. So then the next night when you go on patrol, you go and stop the premeditated crime, and there's crime scenes to investigate and put the evidence together and solve the crime. And you can drive around the city in the bat bike, and there's citizens and like, you go Nightwing, and there's one guy who goes, that's Nightwing. Oh, and I was like, that's me.
I was going to say, put plunder in the game.
And it's good because Gotham's quite big, but it doesn't feel too big, and you can soar through the air and jump over all the buildings. It's just, I love it. There's the main story, which are like the main case files, and then there's side stories. The side missions are mental. The amount of crimes there are, there's so many types of crime now. Like in Spider-Man, you're like, oh, here we go again, got to do that random crime. And this one, there's like lots of different ones. So there's lots of kind of beat people up. There's one where you've got to reclaim harvested organs and get them back to the police. I know the ambulance. There's loads going on in the city. It's great.
And
it's so good.
There's 4 members of the Bat family, and there's
Yeah.
co-op. So
Yeah.
4-player
co-op.
co-op.
4-player co-op, surely.
Surely
No,
4-player
that's
co-op.
the weirdest thing. That's the one bad thing. But I have played co-op with Magic or Die. He was playing Robin and I was playing Batgirl because I was playing it in PC, so I switched my characters. And the co-op works really well, and it's so fun. Like,
No, it doesn't.
It does. For 2
There's
people.
4
For
characters.
Magic or
there should be
Die,
4
I was
players.
in the Bat bike, and Magic or Die was zipping above me, and it was really cool. So I don't know why they never did 4 players.
It's a
just,
strange
it's
one
weird.
because sort of there was a big thing about the frame rate, right? There was a big thing about the frame rate on
I
the
don't
next
know.
gen
It's
console.
PS5. I don't know what's that.
And I sort of in my head, because the reasoning was that it was tricky because of frame rates for co-op, and that was part of the reason why they brought it down. And I went, oh well, fair enough, especially if there's 4 players. But the fact there's only 2, I don't know. It just seems such a strange choice.
That's everyone's big grudge. I don't know if it was just, I don't know. I don't know how many games.
I have to say, this game didn't appeal to me really at all. Having watched you play it, I thought it looked pretty cool. Actually, and I thought, oh, maybe. And I have to say, before I realised, I quite liked the idea of us doing an Alien Men stream where like the 3 of us were all different members of the Bat family, and we got somebody else in, and there was the 4 of us, and we were all playing individual characters. And I thought that was going to be awesome.
That would have been great fun.
The fact that it's 2 it just seems a really strange, and I'm sure there's a reason, and it probably is. Technically, it was too difficult for them to do, or something like that. But it just seems a really,
I don't know if it linked
oversight.
back to being, because it was meant to be last gen and this gen, and then they scrapped the last gen part. So I don't know if it was just because they were trying to do it over multiple gens, and then we're like, no, we just want to focus on this gen, but they'd already had the bones in. I don't know.
I don't know how
Gordon works.
You know, you've got 4 different, very different playable characters. You're making a thing about the game being co-op. It just feels a wee bit. That's the one thing that's disappointing about this, because this really does look good. I was sort of won over by it, but that I feel that sort of leaves a bit of a sour taste. And I think that, you know, when all's said and done, I reckon the devs will probably feel that was a missed opportunity or a mistake.
Oh yeah,
you never know.
It's been the biggest. They might manage to patch it, and it's been the biggest critique because everyone online who's played it is like, ignore the big sites. This game is actually amazing fun to play. I think it's the best game version of Harley Quinn we've ever seen, because she's Harley Quinn free the Joker, even better than Arkham Knights, because she was still like, oh, I'm gonna get you for what you did to me in the Joker. Harley Quinn's amazing in it, and you've got your main baddie storyline, and then you've got 3 sub baddies. and it's not just like a one and done. You've got to go investigate and see them in different forms and see them in different areas. And that's really interesting. I don't want to spoil who they are because
Are
it's
these
really good.
kind of reasonably well known baddies?
Yeah, it's three
Yeah.
big, and
Nice.
one of them we've seen them all before in other games and stuff.
Uh huh.
And I think the way they've got the system, the way it's set up, they could easily add in DLC stories where you go see more baddies and fight more baddies without having to do Gotham Knights 2. Like, I
Nice.
don't think you need to have Gotham Knights 2 anytime soon unless they're like, here's 4 people playing. But I think it's so much fun. Like, it's so. I just love going on and running around Gotham and we're like, pow, 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 and batting people. And oh, it's great. I just love
You've
it.
got to
It's so
hope
good.
that they're trying to patch in 4-player co-op. It just seems
You would
such
hope.
a
They're bringing-
strange.
They're bringing 4-player arena mode to it.
Yeah,
Aye.
I know that.
that's
It's only
But
the same.
hopefully, if they
That's
do
not
that,
the
they can
same.
then figure out how to make 4
Maybe,
people
yeah.
in the city, or even 3, just 3, just for us.
Well, I mean, 3 just for us is all we really want, but
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, to be fair,
that'd
he's
be
leaving
even
us.
more bizarre.
He's
That'd be
leaving us
even more
again, so
bizarre.
it could just be me and you.
Oh, I just mean you, Paul. It's fine.
Sorry, I'll
Um,
definitely be back by the time they patch this in.
But it's nice seeing the Bat family get love and attention as well. And it's interesting because they're in a world without Batman, so like that dynamic's good. But no, I love it. It's been really good.
Nice.
Another game I played. I keep talking. I did this in the Nail Men channel. Yeah, that's a couple of Thursdays ago. It's Plague Tale Requiem.
Ah.
Again, so this was in Game Pass. This is in Game Pass, and this is why I kind of feel like I never paid anything for Scorn because I feel like Plague Tale's a game I paid for Game Pass.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It came out the same month, so you got Scorn
yeah.
as a freebie because
Aye.
surely this is worth a tenner.
So good, and I've even played that much. I think I'm on like the second or third chapter. It's more of the same what you're used to,
Mhm.
but not in a boring or bad way. And the story, the story, you're a bit like, oh, for God's sake, I'm saying, Hugo, what are you up to now? It's like you just survived the evil Pope, Rat Pope. Why are you messing up?
The evil rat pope.
Yeah, the evil Rat Pope. So it picks up after the first game, and it's just I can't tell you so much about spoiler because I know you really like the first one, Paul. And did you finish the first one, Colin?
No, I'm sort of halfway through
Aye.
it.
I love
a
Amisa
disc
and
for this,
Hugo's.
didn't
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Amisa and Hugo I said it, are one of my favorite brother-sister relationships. And Baker Boy was like, not Chris and Claire Redfield. I was like, well, yeah, but you never see them on screen. But the relationship they have is just so well done and not annoying and not cliched. So basically, you're just seeing Hugo progress with his abilities.
I beg to differ.
and-
What we're seeing just now is some of the worst hide and seek we've ever seen from Linda.
Oh, I know. I couldn't remember the buttons. It didn't count for very long, and I get caught. It's fine.
It
You're meant
does
to get
look
caught.
bloody gorgeous.
It is beautiful. So you start in this kind of ruined castle area, and it's kind of teaching you your buttons. And I was like, I don't remember how to play this game. And then you end up get yourself out of trouble, and then you get to go to a city, a sanctuary, because there's someone there who knows how to help Hugo. And of course, rats hit the fan straight away. And it's when the rats first appear, it's horrifying. Like they've evolved essentially. And if you thought the first one was gross, just think bigger, badder, and uncut. That's the only way to describe it. So it's quite thrilling. Amicia's kind of get PTSD from the first game, so she's trying to deal with that. And she's really protective over Hugo. And she seems to be having like anxiety or panic attacks to do with it and stuff. And it's good. It's great. It's really tense. The atmosphere's really good, and it switches emotions so quickly. So I want to go back to play that. I'll probably try and play it again in the Element channel so people can watch it. But it's great. It's lovely. It's beautiful looking. It controls well. Have my slingshot back. I forgot how much I loved that. Cracking people with it. It's so good.
It looks a bit more open world than the first one. I know it's obviously not, but it does look
This
like there's
first bit's a wee bit more a
few
big
more
open plains.
ways to do things and stuff.
Well, yeah.
It feels a
So
bit less linear.
I've been really bad at the stealth this time. I just keep setting things on fire. But that changes the way cutscenes play, I think, or it changes the way certain things happen, which has been quite nice.
Is it because like every time you're in a cutscene, the entire world's on fire in the background?
Actually, almost, yeah. But there's a bit where you get chased before you get to the city, and you can sneak through it. But I like a numpty pushed the wrong button and get caught, and then the whole place went fire. I was getting chased. I was like, "This is amazing!"
I love
But
the fact that-
then you could see when you were running through bits where you would have hid and distracted the guards if you hadn't been like me, who was just like, "Hi, I'm here!" Slingshotting everybody.
Blunder's just playing this entire game like the "This is fine" meme.
Yeah. I mean, Steel's just like the Terminator for me. I'm like, she does have PTSD. She's raging. She's like, "Come on then." So yeah, highly recommend that. Again, it's on Game Pass. It's so good. And I won't talk about it so much. I did play Bayonetta 3. I've played it all the way through. Really strong gameplay. It looks good for a Switch game. The story is kind of weak. It's a bit of a shame. The first game, the second game, were kind of like what we've got with the God of War games. Like, the first game is amazing, and when the second game came out, it made the story in the first game even better and improved the combat and all that.
Mhm.
And the third game's came out, and it's kind of like, oh, okay. And the end is emotionally devastating. But it was good. It's good fun. But I didn't play that on stream. I played that all to myself, and that's what I've been playing. Been very busy.
Very good.
Nice.
The viewers have been in touch and listeners have been in touch. So Yvonne says, I've been playing You Suck at Parking and all my local PS5 games on my Logitech G Cloud handheld. Never actually played Sackboy or whatever the heck it is called. Is
But
that the
one of them's
Sackboy
called
game?
one of them's called Sackboy Adventures. But
Yeah,
obviously
maybe it's that.
there's all the little big
Little Big
Big-
Planet games, which were fun.
Little Big Planet. Yep.
Adentior's been playing Sky, Children of the Light. It's a gorgeous adventure game currently free on Switch, made by the same people as Journey.
Ooh.
Also, Ori and the Will o' the Wisps and the Forza Horizon 5 10th anniversary update has been brilliant. You like your Forzas, don't
It's all right, yeah.
you? Jericho Pliskin, NHL. It's always NHL. But why, I hear you ask? It's very good and full of weird metagaming strategies that make a mockery of actual hockey, I hear you say. Good points. Also, Battle for Middle-earth 2, Son of the King on GameCube, and Lord of the Rings Online. Bet you can't see the connection.
Between hockey and Lord of the Rings.
I'm just
Broken
impressed that
teeth.
Blunder had so much discourse there about NHL.
Yeah,
very
yeah, it
impressive.
was
Really finger on the pulse there, Blunder.
Quite opinionated, though.
Yeah,
Yep.
couldn't believe it.
Mix in 86 says, been making my way through Near Automata, and even though I'm most of the way through Ending B, I still don't know what's going on. You'll get there, don't worry. Also, ignored everyone saying that Sonic Origins doesn't play well and tried it. Wish I stuck to the Mega Drive Classics versions.
Oh.
Aw. Well, Sonic Frontiers is out this month, so you might want to play that. And that's it. So, if for the next podcast you want to let us know what you've been playing, maybe some God of War, maybe some Sonic Frontiers, or any of the games I mentioned, here's how you can get in touch.
We'd love to hear from you. Find us on Facebook as The Nearly Men, Twitter and Instagram, where we are at Nearly Men, or email info@thenearlymen.com.
Okay, time for some new releases. Right, I'm going to fire through these. So, November the 3rd, you can get The Chant, Die by the Blade, The Entropy Center, From Space, Horsetails, Emerald Valley Ranch, How to Say Goodbye, King's Hunt, Outshine, Roboco, and WRC Generations. And those are coming on multitude of platforms. November 4th, you can get Eterna Noctis, Harvestella, and It Takes Two. Those are all on the Switch. November 7th, Soulstone Survivors and The Unliving on PC. November 8th, a little to the left, Football Manager 2023, Football Manager 2023 console, Football Manager 2023 Touch, and Sonic Frontiers. November 9th, a little game called God of War Ragnarok is out.
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. Ragnarok, sorry. November 10th, you can get City Bus Manager,
Yes.
Dying Light 2, Stay Human, Bloody Ties DLC, Fabular, Once Upon a Spacetime, Lunastice, Police Simulator, Patrol Officers, Shadow of the Guild, Steel Rising, Cagliostro's Secrets, and Hidden Through Time Definitive Edition. November 11th, Tactics Ogre Reborn, Valkyrie Elysium, Solasta, Crown of the Magister and her Strength DLC, and Bravery and Greed. November 15th, Eden Gate, The Edge of Life, Floodland, Pentiment, Smurf's Cart, Somerville, Siberia, The World Before, and the Modern Warfare 2 Battle Pass is out. November 16th, Warzone 2, and then November 17th, Goat Simulator 3, My Fantastic Ranch, Oakenfold, and Star Sand.
Ooh.
Oof, that's a lot of games.
Oh
A lot of
my.
games. Most of which never heard of. Love it. Gentlemen, anything from chat that caught your interest?
So Jericho Pliskin earlier on talking about God of War said, a new dad likes a game about dads. Original Colin, real original.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a game about a specific dad. UZ83 on Scorn says, Scorn was dull, slow, brown on brown wank.
Woof!
Might need to edit that, sorry. Paolo.
Oh my god.
Ron Birkin did that. That's my mistake from reading a UZ83 point. There was lots of versions talking about VR. Audentior suggested that we need a Zelda VR to get people hooked. Daybreak then we then got suggestions of FIFA VR. Daybreak suggested Animal Crossing VR. The Sims VR. Blunder would like the Sims.
Imagine that in VR.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be all right. Dancing Toaster has still not finished God of War.
Well, you get 7 days.
Well, exactly.
Oh, then you die.
It's wiped.
And
God.
finally, on games, Star Fox Gemini says, I've been playing Train Sim 3. Basically, a shift at work.
Right.
Love it.
Right.
I love it.
There we are.
Fantastic. I was going to say very upcoming streams, but I know we're all dead busy. So
Aye.
I think we're all taking the approach of you get when you get.
Yep.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
There'll pretty much be nothing from me. Apart
my
from
heart.
I'll be here next week with the Nearly Men. But yeah, there'll be nothing from me. And yeah, I guess both Paolo and Blunder, it's sort of just make sure you've got your notifications on Twitch, and following the boys on social media, and you will find out when they're live, I guess. That's how life goes at the moment.
Aye.
True story.
I feel like everyone's dead busy and just tired. Like Tuesday, I was like, I can't even talk to folk when I can barely keep my eyes open. I felt terrible, but I was just like,
there's only so much time in the day, people.
aye. But we will be around. Don't worry.
You can't escape us that easily.
Nope. We'll be invading your dreams to let you know we're on an element.
Chilling. Absolutely chilling.
Well, this episode of the Chilling Podcast was brought to you by executive producer Hamster Boy.
Yeah, baby.
Next episode will be here live on twitch.tv/TheNailymen, which will be episode 119 on the 17th of November. Paul, any parting words?
One day I will prepare something.
Love it. Paul, any parting words?
Boy!
It's a good choice.
And for me, it's always remember and charge your joy pads. Stay safe and we'll see you next time, folks. Bye!
Bye.